doing?
Happy Leap Day.
Yeah, all right.
Jump right into questions.
Quinton Post has been around for a long time. You've seen a lot of him. Is he the same player that he was when you first saw him?
No, he's better. He looks like he's in better shape. Shooting the basketball really, really well from three. He's always been able to do it, but I think he's near the 40s now. I think the biggest thing is that the experience, and he looks to be in really, really good shape watching him on film.
What was your biggest takeaway from the last couple minutes of the game the other night?
It was very physical. That was my takeaway. We weren't able to play through physicality. We had some opportunities throughout the game, but we didn't capitalize on them. Disappointing.
How do you think the team handled that one? I mean, was there any type of difference?
I haven't seen them since we got back. Yesterday was our off day, so I will know more later today. Obviously, we were all disappointed. Clemson's a really good team, but we feel like we are too, and we had an opportunity to win the game, and we didn't.
How is that challenge different from coming back from like the Wake Forest loss? You know, a different kind of loss. Like, how's it challenging coming back?
Yeah, I think it's, you know, to be honest with you, I think the last loss, the loss at Clemson's more difficult. I think so. Just because you were right there. You know, the Wake game got away from us, you know, the first, 4 or 5 minutes of the second half, where, you know, it was, I hate to say it, but it was over. This one, you know, we were right there. I mean, it's a 1-point game with 1.5 minutes left. After we had missed 9 layups. You know, with 2.5 minutes left in the first half, we were up 27-20. And we go in and we miss a wide open layup. That was the 7th one. If we had made the layups at that point, it would have been 41-20. That game's probably over. And that, not that Clemson wouldn't have continued to fight, but if you have that kind of lead, so we have to be able to do that. We have to be able to finish though. So that's the part that is probably most disappointing. We were ready to play. We played hard. We battled. We fought. But we have to be able to capitalize when you get those opportunities, especially on the road against a really good team, a team that's that physical, and a team that's that good defensively.
Do you have to say anything to the guys about that, or I mean,
I'm sorry.
Do you have to say anything to the guys about that, or you miss is a
No,
concentration
we
thing,
talked about it at halftime. Like, we have to finish, you know, and I'll talk to them about it today, and then hopefully on Saturday we can finish those plays. We had done a pretty good job of finishing up to that point. I wish I could tell you why we missed them. I mean, some of them were wide open. Like, so I don't know. It was weird.
Is that one of those things when they see it on tape, you probably don't have to say a lot? Like, they'll see it, they'll recognize it?
Yeah, normally they probably already know. I mean, no one tries to miss a layup. No one tries to miss a shot. You know, it just happens sometimes. But we have to be able to capitalize when you get those opportunities, especially against a really good defensive team like that.
You and your brother both mentioned the lack of physicality late in the game. What can you do about having a lack of physicality? How do you get it?
I don't think we had a lack of physicality. I just thought they were more physical. Mm-hmm. I don't think we had a lack of it. We just weren't able to be as physical as they were.
My question is, how can you remedy that?
I don't know. I mean, you know, it's 1:30 left. It's a 1-point game, and we get a guy that almost gets his ribs cracked on a cross screen. You know, how do you fight through that? You know, when it's a cheap shot.
Not called.
I didn't say that.
No. I don't remember being
the foul was called on us.
Right, yeah.
Which was a foul.
Mm-hmm.
Which was a foul after the fact. But, you know, so maybe we can wear some rib pads. I don't know. But we have to be able to fight through physicality. They were very physical. And that's who they are. I'm not saying it's anything different. That's who Clemson is. That's what they pride their program on. In the second half, we were not able to run anything offensively. So it just turned stagnant, us playing one-on-one. I think we had 1 assist the whole second half, only, I think, 4 for the game, maybe 3. for. And so we have to be better. We have to be able to play in any type of environment, whatever style. We've been pretty good with that for whatever reason in that game, especially the last 20 minutes we were not.
I know Blake is Blake and he forgets from shot to shot, but that wasn't a Blake-like game. I mean, is there any kind of discussion with him, or do you have any concerns about him?
Yeah, I don't have concern, but he has, and it's not one person. Like, we have to be better. He certainly has to be better. I think he would be the first person to say that. On both sides, we've got to be better offensively and defensively.
On the note of Clemson, Brad had some interesting things to say about just how certain teams throughout the country are able to kind of manipulate the net rankings. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that. Have you noticed that as well?
Yeah, I have. I think it was a conscious thing, a calculated thing, specifically by one conference, in the conference that Brad mentioned. They were smart because they did a heck of a job of manipulating it. They go into the conference with all of those teams where basically every game now is a quad one. And I think Brad was talking about specifically the Big 12. And the Big 12 is a heck of a conference. It's really good. I coached in that league for 5 years. I know it's a really, really good league with really good players, really good coaches, tough places to play. We were 9-3 against that league. And it's frustrating because you hear the negative talk about our league and these things about the other leagues. But then you look at how, and again, it's smart on their part. Mm-hmm. It's smart as a league, as a conference, as a commissioner of the conference, whoever the commissioner is specifically for basketball, the ADs, the coaches, to be able to do it where they play these non-conference schedules that are not very challenging when you look at the numbers. And you beat them by a whole lot. The average margin of victory, I think, was 27 points. And that skews the numbers. And so then you go into conference now where every game is a quad one game. And so that's how you end up getting 9 teams in the league. And so, again, it's something that we have to figure out. Talking about it now, and it seems like it's become a conversation. Someone sent me something yesterday where someone said, I think it's Stanford Steve.
Yeah, Scott Van Pelton.
Okay.
Steve, yeah.
Okay. All right. He's the betting dude, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think it was him. Someone sent me something where I think he put out, I think it was him. If it's not Stanford Steve, I'm sorry, but where he said it's going to be interesting how they view the Big 12 because of that. And he had specifically what these schools' strength of schedules were, who they played, and then, the average margin of victory. Because it's talked about, it'll probably change next year. And so I think where we have to be better as a league is, trying to get out in front of maybe where this thing is going and then adjust from that standpoint. You have to always be able to adapt. I think that's the main thing.
That's what I was going to follow up by asking. What's stopping the ACC from trying to get on the next trend?
Yeah, we have to be smarter. We have to be calculating. We have to be. There's no way our league shouldn't get more teams into the NCAA tournament. It's just no way. If you look at the past few years, I sat with you guys in here. I don't know if all of you were here, but when we found out that we were in, and I think one of you asked, was I worried? And I said, no, I was lying. I was worried. I was worried when it started because I started seeing these seeds and I'm like, my God, I thought we were in, but we could possibly not make this thing. And then the fact that we were one of the last teams in, like that's, with winning 14 games, Clemson won 14 games in the league last year and didn't make it in. Like, that's ridiculous. And so we have to be better as a league. We have to figure things out and we have to be in lockstep. There's certain programs, if you look at the Big 12, there's certain programs that don't, like Kansas doesn't have to do it because they're Kansas. You know what I mean? Like, In our league, North Carolina and Duke don't have to do it because they're North Carolina and Duke. But the rest of us need to be in lockstep with what we're trying to do so we can get more teams in.
If the Big 12 is playing cupcakes in non-conference, how do they become quad one teams then?
It seems like there's a metric where the margin of victory, if you win by a lot.
No matter who you play?
No matter who you play.
Yeah.
If you win by a lot, you know, someone told me, I don't look at this stuff, so I don't, people tell me, I have people on my staff that do, because I can't, I'm trying to figure out how to beat BC. That's all I, try to figure out. But for instance, after we beat Louisville, who does not have a good record, I don't know of what they are. I don't know if they're quad 3 or quad 4. I know they're not 1 or 2. But we beat them by a lot. We jumped, I think, by 14 spots. Virginia Tech, who is a really good team, and where their numbers are, we ended up winning that game by 15, I think. So we jumped by a lot. And so it's interesting because if you have a lead late in the game, do you put your walk-ons in? Or do you keep scoring to try to build the lead? I've had coaches say to me that, if they're down a lot late in the game, they don't sub. They hope the other team subs and puts their walk-ons in, so all of a sudden, if they're down 20, maybe they only lose by 10 because of what it does. And so that's what it does. It takes the human part of it out too, because your walk-ons work, they do all these things. If you have an opportunity to put them in, you should do that. But if you go by the metrics, you shouldn't. So it's a complicated thing, man. And, I wish that was not the only thing that determined, I wish there were some human beings that looked and watched and saw and really studied and picked, who makes the tournament, not going by just computers and numbers and things like that.
Should
Jeff,
there be?
Is there anything you guys could do as a league, as coaches in the last couple of weeks to say, hey, we're playing good basketball here and impact what the committee's doing?
I don't think so. I mean, we talk about it. Our league talks about it. I think our league has done a really good job this year of putting information out, to the media of what we're doing as a league, of our numbers and things like that. I think our league has done an outstanding job of that. But I don't know how much that matters. I heard Steve Forbes, I think it was after, excuse me, they beat Duke. He talked about his frustration with it. And his was a little bit different. His was a little bit more pointed because it was talking about one of the talking heads, the national people, taking shots at our league, because of the past players of the year. Isaiah Wong, Moses Wright, Alondis Williams. At times it does seem personal, and I've wondered why. I don't know because, I know when I was in the Big 12, I can say this, when I was in the Big 12, there was a feeling in that league, the 5 years I was out there, that there was an East Coast bias, that everything was to the East Coast, to the ACC and Big East. I don't know because Coach is gone, because Coach Williams is gone, that people feel like they can take shots at our league now. You get tired of, look, everyone's tired of the Chiefs now. You know what I mean? Like, people got tired of the Patriots when they won so much. Duke was the darling in the 80s. After they won, back-to-back, they became the villains. And so the ACC has been the best conference. Historically, numbers-wise and everything. Sometimes people maybe get tired of that. And you put this narrative out that's not true, about our league. Because when you look at what we've done when we make it to the tournament, multiple teams in the Final Four, multiple teams winning national championships, multiple teams to the Sweet 16, to the Elite Eight. Like, that's been proven over and over. You can take it with draft picks. You can take it with national championships. All of those things, these other leagues pale in comparison to the history of our league. And so maybe that's why the narrative is being created, and they have the numbers to back it up. you know, and again, we have to figure out as a league, we have to do our part. We have to be smarter and more creative in some of the things that we do. The bottom line is that we need to get more teams in the tournament. That's the bottom line.
Like, on the topic of scheduling, though, because I'm curious about this, when you look at your non-conference schedule this year, like, what would be, like, the smarter way? I mean, you have the Brooklyn tournament, right? You have the ACC, SEC thing, you have the West Virginia game, but
one of the things that hurt us was West Virginia not being as good as we thought they would be, and Missouri not being as good as we thought they would be, and then losing to Missouri. That hurt. You know, Missouri was a team that was like us last year. They were good. They made the tournament. They were one of the better teams in the SEC. You know, they were good. And when we played them, they had a good record. And you thought they were going to be good. I don't think they've won a game in the SEC. And so that hurt. And then, obviously, you think West Virginia is going to be really good. And then they had turmoil in their program from the summer that just kind of derailed what that team probably was going to be. It was a heck of a win for us. I don't know how much it's helped us. As far as the numbers are concerned, it helped us. it helped us, but I don't know, you know, with that. And so that's the thing. Those two games in the non-conference schedule are the ones that probably haven't helped us as much.
That's part of the risk when you go, if you were to go the Big 12 route too, right? Where if you have just a couple of Power 5 games, if those opponents have, you know, a bad season, you
that's the risk of that.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I wish there were other ways to figure this thing out. Like, there should be, you know, an eye test of watching, because you can't tell me last year that Clemson wasn't one of the best 68 teams in the country. I think we're one of the best 68 teams right now. But that doesn't matter. What matters are the numbers and how you look at all these different things.
You think this sport would be better if the power leagues got more than one auto bid?
I think there are a lot of things that could make the sport better, and our sport is great. But I think there are a lot of things that could make it even better. We have the greatest tournament. You know, those 3 weeks are 3 of the best weeks in sport. The most exciting weeks is to even people that aren't basketball fans look forward to that. They fill out brackets, they get involved with that. I think there are a lot of things, though, that could make it better.
Jeff, you've got a few more games until this, but you'll be celebrating Senior Day next week. I'm curious, do you think the transfer portal has impacted the excitement around Senior Days?
Maybe. I think it depends. I think if you have a guy that comes in for like 1 year for that, then maybe I don't know if there's a connection with fans anymore like it used to be. You know, it used to be where I've had some people here, some people that are longtime fans, donors, that love Pitt basketball. I remember going to dinner with this couple a couple years ago, I think, or last spring, and they talked about how they would pick a guy when he was a freshman, and that would be the guy, and they would, you know, watch him and cheer for him or whatever. And by the time he was a senior, and in this program, you know, with Jamie, you know, they would redshirt guys, so it would be like 5th year, like you really got to know him, you got to watch him grow up. You don't see that much anymore. Now, I will say last year I thought it was special with 1 year guys, with Nelly, with Greg. But that was because of what we did. So I still think you can have that. Like, Blake's a transfer. This would be his 2nd year with us. This is his 2nd year, I should say, with us. I think it'll be very emotional. I know it will be next week because of what he's done for this program. But I do think it is a little bit different from, but everything is different from how it was 5 years ago. Not even ancient times when I played 5 years ago. I mean, it's the game is completely, the business of basketball has completely changed. You know, the game itself has changed a little bit, but it's always changing. But the business of it, everything around it, has completely changed.
For you, do you think that's, is it cool to see the fans rally around those like 1 year guys or those 2 year guys like Blake, like Nelly?
Yeah, I think it is, but you know, they have to do something really good. You know, they have to leave a mark. You know, Nelly, Greg, JB was a 2-year guy. You know, Nike ended up being a 3-year guy. So you got to know them a little bit more. But they did something special. I think that's why it will be that way with Blake, because he's done something special here. You know, last year, and I hope we do something special this year. I hope we're able to do. But him individually, you know, what he's meant to this program, to this university, to this athletic department, and hopefully I just hope everyone really appreciates what he's done.
Coach, can I pivot for 1 minute? You talk about Bill Hillgrove and the news this morning. I mean, you're
yeah, I just heard it when I was walking down here. I didn't know.
But as a Steeler fan and as somebody who works with him.
Yeah, well, he's awesome. I mean, first and foremost, it's awesome when you get to do it your way and you're not pushed out. So that's not many people in what we do have an opportunity to go out that way. I'm glad he'll still be with us, but as a Steeler fan, you know, it's going to be different not hearing him, you know, on the radio, you know, because he's been a staple of that organization, you know, for so long. But again, I'm grateful that we still have him, you know, that he'll still be a part of what we're doing here with our men's basketball program. And when you get a chance to be around someone like that, you cherish every moment that you have.
I'm not sure if we've asked in a while. How's Papa Conte doing?
Yeah, he's doing really, really well. You know, he's able to do more stuff now, as far as nothing on the court, as far as practice or anything, but he's able to do some court work, you know, just some shooting and anything that doesn't involve cutting right now. He's had an unbelievable attitude of how he's approached his rehab, and has done an outstanding job.
How's Barnes improved?
He's gotten better in practice, just as far as he's gotten stronger, learning how to compete more, you know, going against those guards every day, being a big part of the scout team. I think that's helped him. And so I just think he's gotten better from all those ways. He's gotten stronger, learned how to compete more, learned how to play harder, all of those things.
WPIAL championships, obviously, in this building this weekend. How important is that for you to have all these highly touted players come in and play in your building?
I think anytime you can get prospects in your building to play, you know, especially locally, you know, a lot of kids. I know when I was growing up, when I was their age, it was a big deal when we got to play in the Smith Center, or we got to play in Reynolds Coliseum. That's where State played when I was coming up. In the summer, with certain AAU tournaments, you got to play in Cameron. That was always a big deal to play in a, you know, place like that on a college campus, on that arena, you know, in those arenas, on those courts. And I hope the kids here feel the same way about the Pete.
What are the rules? Are there, like, contact-wise? I mean, it's your building, right? Can you just go talk to them? I mean, like, what are the recruiting rules?
Yeah, I can talk to them. I can say hello. I think that's all I can do. I don't know. The rules change. You can sue now and change every rule.